course, everyone here knows the scope of Basil's achievements, his years of service as an advisor to the Prime Minister, a member of Parliament, and Minister of Economic Affairs, his leadership on Lebanon's economic negotiations with the wider world. As an MP, his important responsibilities were to reform the economy by revising some very outdated laws to promote civil liberties so that the rights of Lebanon's citizens and their futures could be secured. That combination, economic reform linked with human rights, captures the liberal, progressive, and deeply humane vision that drove his life. But you can't measure Basil's impact only in policies or in agreements. It has to be measured also in the people he inspired, his students, his colleagues, and his fellow citizens who uphold his conviction that public service is a duty, not a privilege. As Plato observed, the measure of a man is what he does with power. Basil was an institutional man through and through. He strengthened institutions, helped modernize laws, all of which placed Lebanon more firmly on the map of international cooperation. That was the true measure of his character. I often came back to Lebanon for very short periods, 24, 48, 60 hours, to see important Lebanese or Arab patients who had lung or head and neck cancer or rare diseases. Uncannily, if I came back even for under a day, he would find out I was in the country, whisk me along to see the work that they were doing in this institute. And these talks, whether they were a cup of coffee or his rapid tour, would always end with the same thing. Fضلو, he would say, we are dazzling with data. For nearly 3 decades, the Institut de Finance has been a place where Basil's ideals are kept alive, where reformers, educators, and civil servants work with integrity to strengthen Lebanon's institutions. This has been our determination since I accepted this position, to strengthen the institutions of the American University of Beirut State. This is the basis of our relationship with the President, with the Prime Ministers, because we've always sought to support Lebanon's institutions through its premier university. But that continuity, that rebuilding of institutions built year after year by committed staff, has given this institute in particular its credibility and staying power. This enduring work also reminds us of the strong partnership between the Institut de Finance and the American University of Beirut. Basil belonged fully to both worlds. One dedicated to strengthening the state, the other to shaping future leaders. This duality reflects his life's work as a reformer of Lebanon's institutions, but also as a mentor inspiring others to believe in their country's future. One thing he and I always had in common is we were not intimidated by people we felt to be more excellent than we are in some areas or overall. We seized onto those people and helped open their paths. Basil was superb at that. The mission of AUB, the Institut de Finance, remain distinct and yet inseparable. Together, they provide a powerful platform for continuing Basil's vision of a Lebanon built on knowledge, integrity, and service through strengthening institutions. It is in this spirit that we honor Basil in many ways. At AUB, the Dr. Basil Flihan Excellence Award in Economics, established by his family, is given annually to students who show intellectual boldness and a sense of social responsibility. Neither one in its own right is sufficient. So today, I'm proud to announce the Basil Flihan Lecture Series to be held annually on September 10th, which would be his birthday. This lecture series, organized jointly by AUB's Asfari Institute for Civil Society and Citizenship and the Institut de Finance Basil Flihan, will feature renowned global thinkers addressing the future of governance and citizenship, opening minds, sparking debate, and inspiring young leaders, just as Basil has inspired us. Friends, while tragedy shortened Basil's life, it did not diminish his legacy. That legacy lives on through his wife, Yasma, his children, Raina and Rayhan, through his proteges, friends, and colleagues. A shining example of who is Lamia Bayed, who despite many opportunities to forge a more stable and comfortable life abroad, particularly after the port explosion, which diminished the hopes of so many Lebanese in the future of their nation, chose to stay here to build and grow and stabilize institutions. Building institutions in Lebanon is the only path forward. Like Bاسل, they believe in the possibilities of a more inclusive Lebanon, and like Bاسl, they exercise their duty toward their native land. While we mourn Basil's loss, his ideas, his values, and his hopes for Lebanon remain with us, each and every one of us. They live on through this institute and in all those who continue to believe in the power of service to transform the nation. And I must say, they live on in the ability of all of us to change. And I'm going to give a small personal anecdote. When Bاسl first asked me to come down to meet Yasma in DC, this man who was the firmest Anglophone, as Ramsey would attest, was suddenly speaking French. That astounded me because Bاسl would find ways for us to get kicked out of French class from elementary school to the end, but suddenly he was speaking French. So we can all change, we can all evolve, we can all work together to build institutions. As we mark these 29 and 20 years, let's commit to upholding the standards. And these are standards that I'm proud to say this government of Nawaf Sam and Joseph is deeply, deeply committed to. Returning standards and strengthening the institution with so many ministers who are friends, colleagues, collaborators. We believe that Bاسl would have been proud, because we see excellence in governance, transparency in service, courage in leadership, collegiality, and hope and commitment to Lebanon's future. Rabindranath Tagore once wrote, "Death is not extinguishing the light. It is only putting out the lamp because the dawn has come." Basil's light was extinguished far too soon. But the dawn he foresaw of a Lebanon built on integrity, service, and hope has simply been delayed, and it must remain our responsibility to bring forth. This is how we invest on Flيحان, in action and not just in words. May his memory long continue to us. Thank you.